we was at work, and I said, Troy, you said what? I said, Dr. Umar made the announcement. You said, what announcement? He got our sweatshirts? I said, no, he ain't got our sweatshirt, right, but he made the announcement about the school. Where is it? I said, we got to listen. So he was listening. I was on Instagram, and he got about 30,000 people watching at the same time, and he mentioned that the school will be in Delaware.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I'm hyped like him. Delaware is the location where the school will be. So we welcome our brother back with us for the third time, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Peace and black power. Glad to be back. Can you hear me clearly there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
We got
Good
you,
to
brother.
be back, fellas.
First of all, I want to say congratulations. You pulled
Thank
it
you.
off, brother. You did what many thought that you could not do. They lied on you. They said you took the money. They said you were doing all kind of crazy things, but you did it, brother.
Yes, sir.
You did it.
Yes, sir.
By the
Praise
help
be
of
to the
God
Most High. Yes, sir. And the ancestors.
The ancestors,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
You did it. Now, first of all, I just want to say to you, what made you choose Delaware, man?
I would say that I did not choose Delaware. Delaware chose me. I had always thought for several years during this fundraising process that the school would be in Detroit. I really thought Detroit was the location because Detroit had so many schools that were available. And my number one pick was actually in Detroit, but we could not afford it. And then Chicago, I thought would also be a likely landing spot because of the amount of available buildings there. And we went all over the country. I was up in New York. I was in Jersey, Philadelphia at one point, Ohio, Virginia, which was the original first school, St. Paul's College. Now, the story of how we got the Delaware school is very spiritual, very spiritual. August the 21st of 2017, we celebrated the Nat Turner total solar eclipse. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. We did that down in Nat Turner Land. As you know, I'm born on that date, August 21st. Is very significant for me. I believe Nat Turner is a spirit god of mine for a lot of reasons. Anyhow, following the Nat Turner eclipse celebration, August 21st of 2017, I was checking LoopNet. And I always check LoopNet periodically for new schools. That's what I've been doing for almost 5 years. And the school popped up that said Wilmington, Delaware. And it looked extremely modern. So I contacted the realtor. It was a white male. Mm-hmm. He arranged for me to walk through the school, and I loved it. 4 buildings, 2 of them which were schools, the third one a gym, a fourth one another building. And I said, I want this. This is it. Because there was nothing else on the block. Wilmington is a predominantly black city, small, close enough to Philly, but still yet has its own separate identity. But they wanted 1.2 million. All we had was 750K. And at that point, we had a little less than 750K because that was a year and a half ago. I refused to give up on it. There was a school in Atlanta that I was going to jump on. But then some domestic situations required that I stay in Philadelphia and not relocate. So I said, I can't do Atlanta. I got to stay close. Where is this going to happen at? And so I kept on tugging at the owners, tugging at the realtor. 18 months later, by the grace of God, because we did not have $1 million to buy this school, they were finally willing to throw in the towel, concede, and sell it to me for what we had. So we shouldn't even have that school. We did not have the money for it, but through the grace of God, it came to us. And I believe, going back to Nat Turner, that's why I'm wearing the hoodie today.
I'm waiting on mine.
I believe that the Nat Turner Army, and y'all going to get y'all hoodie next time. I got you. You're going to get that Nat Turner hoodie. I got you. In fact, I might have had one for you. I might have had a large, but I got you. So again, Nat Turner. I believe it was the energy of Nat Turner and the Nat Turner Army. And then I went to Cuba that Sunday to get initiated into E5. My paternal grandfather was Cuban. So I went to Cuba for the first time, received my E5 initiation. So between 2 very spiritual events, the Nat Turner total solar eclipse of 2017 and my first visit to Cuba where I was initiated into E5, between those 2 dates, I got a chance to see this school. 18 months later, we end up with that very school. So I believe it was divine design the entire time. And I'm going to give you one more little spiritual nuance. I was coming from Newark, New Jersey, visiting a school for sale in Newark. When I came back, I went to the movies because I'm a movie buff. What's the movie starring Ice Cube's son? And who else is in the movie?
Oh yeah.
They rob banks.
It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. What's the movie with Ice Cube's son and 50 Cent? Ice Cube's son and 50 Cent.
Fine, keep going.
Anyhow,
Keep going.
I went to the movies
My daughter's on.
to go and see that movie, right? I just came from looking at a Newark, New Jersey school. I'm sitting in the movie theater, right? And I'm brainstorming schools. Where are we going to get this school at? We don't have enough money. And guess what pops up on the screen? If you watch the movie, you'll see this. There's a scene early on
that shows the school.
That shows the city. It says Wilmington, California. And I started texting some of my friends and I said, I'm sitting in the theater and Wilmington just popped up on the screen in the movie. And I got a little chill, right? That was about a year ago. Guess what? That was a spiritual premonition. It was Wilmington. I just needed to sit tight and let God and the ancestors work it out because it had already been decided before I knew it.
Yes, it was.
So this Thursday, I'm going to be hosting a black family meeting in Wilmington, Delaware, to introduce myself to brothers and sisters in that town. Because although Wilmington is only 20 minutes from Philadelphia, of all the states in this country, I've spent the least amount of time in Wilmington, even though it's next door. I'm always in Jersey. I'm always in Maryland. I'm always in D.C. I just came back from New York, sold out lecture in the Bronx. I was in Connecticut this past Sunday, jam-packed. But I rarely go to Delaware. I've only done 2 events in Delaware, so they need to learn me from me, not from YouTube. So it's just going to be a meet and greet. I'm going to tell them what my plans are, take some questions, and then we'll take it from there. But I am here to proclaim that now that we have the school, Wilmington, Delaware has just become for black people what Washington, D.C. already is for white folks. And that's the capital of black America. In fact, I'm already calling it Wilmington, D.C. But it don't stand for District of Columbia. It stands for District of Black Consciousness.
What was the name
Wilmington,
of the movie?
D.C.
You got the name?
Den of Thieves.
Den of Thieves.
Den of
When you
Thieves.
watch Den of Thieves, you're going to see Wilmington pop up in the corner.
Okay.
It sent chills. And that was it. That was the message right there the whole time. I just didn't know. 18 months it took us to get it.
Sister Melanie is on the Facebook
Sure.
line, and she wants to know what are the grades that you were offered for the school, and do you have agriculture
Okay.
in place?
Great question. The grades, my personal intention is to start with 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the reason I want to strategically start with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade is those are the grades when our children begin to experience psychological dropout. See, physical dropout starts in the 9th grade. Psychological dropout starts in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's when they start disconnecting and de-identifying because of the way they're treated. The special ed, the Ritalin, the ADHD, the abusive treatment by white teachers, right? I want to do 3rd, 4th, and 5th. However, once the school has been restored and we start having open houses for parents and interest meetings, if I find out that we have more parents who are interested in the 6th grade or the 1st grade or kindergarten, then I will shift the grades that we're going to start with. So I have my plan, but that's a soft plan. I have to see where the interest is coming from. And the beauty of Wilmington, Delaware, where it's situated on the eastern seaboard, it touches Pennsylvania. It touches Maryland. And it's a hop, skip, and a jump from New Jersey. So in keeping with my Pan-Africanist foundation, not only will boys from Delaware be able to go to the school, boys from New Jersey, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, we will be able to educate African boys from 4 different states. Now, because we're blessed with 2 school buildings, not one, we got 2, right across the street from each other. One is the Frederick Douglass building. That's the big one. The smaller one is the Marcus Garvey building. As you know, at some point in time, we're going to bring the girls into the school, right? We won't start with the girls. I want to be clear about that. First year or 2 will be nothing but boys. But because we have an adjacent school right across the street, we may bring the girls in a lot sooner than I originally planned. Because one of the blessings of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is space. If I only had the Frederick Douglass building and I didn't get the other 3 across the street, it's still a win-win. Because in that building, you have a state-of-the-art gymnasium. We could put over 1,000 people in the gym alone. We have 16 classrooms. We have a separate lunchroom, a separate computer lab. Even without the 3 extra buildings, we would be set with the Frederick Douglass building. Now you bring the Marcus Garvey building in it. That's an extra 8 to 12 classes. Then you bring the second gym into it, which is going to be the community center. But I'm also thinking about having that refitted and turning that into my Black Information and Cultural Cafe Express, which will be 3 floors. 1 floor, a bookstore, another floor, a vegan and vegetarian cafe where you can get your Marcus Garvey smoothie or your Frederick Douglass hoagie or your Nat Turner salad or your Harriet Tubman juice. And then the top floor will be a place where you can socialize and just relax and maybe put a roof on top where people can go up top, when the weather is good, and just catch some of the rays of Amin Ra, the sun.
So let me ask you this. I'm hearing everything that you're talking about doing, and it's not a school that's going to be independent.
Yes.
So, how do you go about getting the money? Are you going to have more fundraising? Is it going to be people can make donations?
Well,
will there be a tuition connected to it?
There will definitely be a tuition.
Okay.
Hands down. It will definitely be a tuition. I hope, though, at some future point in time, 20 years out, minimally, because we have to be realistic, I would like to have an endowment set up like the universities and white private schools. Black mothers. Single parent Black women are the ones raising our babies. You understand? So I want to ease as much as possible the financial burden they will incur by trying to children at our school. I'm also not giving up on our celebrities because although we know they're scared of revolution, they might feel comfortable sponsoring a couple children to go to the school, as well as Black businesses, Black business owners, Black churches. Because once this school opened up, nobody would have seen nothing like what we got. So a lot of parents are going to be shaking at these community leaders saying, yo, listen, my boy need Dr. Umar. He don't need special ed. He don't need ADHD. He don't need a discipline school. He needs FDMG. Not ADHD, FDMG. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So with that, being said, there are some loans on the table. Should I like to exercise that option? But it's a last option because that's economic slavery.
Yes.
As you know, there's really no controls on venture capital loans. When you take out a loan for a business, that interest, they can charge you whatever they want. There's very little control on venture capital loans, which means if I take out $1 million or $2 million loan, by the time I pay that interest back, I could have bought 20 FDMGs. It simply isn't worth it. The beauty of where we are right now, Brother Jahid, is the fact that we own the building flat out. Ain't no mortgage, you understand me? Ain't no nothing. We own, it's ours. It is owned by Black people 100%. It is ours. Now, speaking of tuition, most independent schools have to charge so much because they still have a mortgage on the property. We don't have a mortgage on the property. So we don't even have to factor in the mortgage and coming up with the tuition. Okay? We would just have to worry about maintenance and restoration. And right now we're in phase 2. Phase 1 was acquisition, buying the school. We got it. Phase 2 is restoration, bringing it back up to code. And then phase 3 is operation. Let's talk about restoration. This school was built with $13 million. This is a $13 million school. The only reason why we have to restore it is because the previous owners didn't have, for whatever reason, a sufficient enough security system on the building that would have prevent vandals from getting in and stripping the piping of its copper. So as a result of that, a lot of damage was done for a couple petty dollars worth of copper, you see. But then let's look at the flip side. Had they not broken in and vandalized that school,
you wouldn't have it.
I wouldn't have it. Wow. Because they would have been able to sell that thing for $7 million easy if it had not been destroyed. The only reason why we got that school is because of the vandalism.
Wow.
But guess what? Even with the vandalism, it's a beautiful school. We ain't got to worry about lead paint. We ain't got to worry about asbestos because it's not an old building. Remember, It just closed down 3 years ago when the charter school that occupied it lost their charter. So this is a blessing. Predominantly black school. The whole block is ours. There's a boys and girls club right in back. We can rent their pool because we're going to have a swim team. What independent black school has a swim team? No Speedos. No Speedos. You understand? And then we have a large community park right across the street.
They provide speed.
Okay? Now,
No?
what is the next goal?
Okay.
There's no way we're going to have the school open for August 21st, 2019. That's only 6 months from now.
Right.
That means you got to restore and prepare in 6 months.
Not going to happen.
What I would like to do is push the start date back to August 21st of 2020, which is the 100th anniversary of Marcus Garvey's first international convention. And it's the 100th anniversary of the red, black, and green flag.
Really?
Oh, yes. So we want to start school on the centennial of the RBG. But restoration, that's operation. Get back to restoration. We have 6 months between this Friday, March the 1st, and August the 1st. What I would like to see happen is raise enough money between March the 1st and August the 1st, 6 months, to fully restore all 4 buildings, and then have our quadricentennial 400-year celebration, 1619 to 2019, also including on top of the 400-year quadricentennial celebration. We celebrate Nat Turner, August 21st. We celebrate the Haitian Revolution, August 21st. We celebrate George Jackson's prison war, August 21st. And of course, the birth of the Prince of Pan-Africanism, August the 21st. I want to have a week-long celebration from August 20th to August 25th. Seminars, workshops, think tanks, food, vendors, entertainment, competitions, swimming in the Boys and Girls Club, meditation, Lamaze, seminars for married couples, seminars for single people, seminars for special ed parents. I want that to be the 400-year celebration this August 21st, 2019. That's what we're working towards. So we want all your listeners to donate as much as you can. Check or money order, payable to the FDMG Academy. And we have a new P.O. box now because we end up.
Callers that's been waiting very patiently.
Sure.
Good evening and welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Umar Johnson. Good evening, caller. Caller, you're there. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Good, brother.
I have a question to ask Dr. Umar. My phone, wild ride, and I myself did that down as well. I didn't treat school because from the beginning, I didn't understand like the plan. I just heard raise money, and that's pretty much it. So I didn't stay up out of it, but I closely watched it because even if you don't donate, when it comes time to physical labor or anything that needs done, I'm there for that. And I guess we're at year 4 now. Just hearing the plan now that he requires school and listening to his broadcast, and no disrespect, but it's like I'm hearing a whole lot of like church type, religious type glorification before anything happens. You guys sitting here hosting the show, you guys know none of this stuff is going to happen within 6 months. No, it's not going to happen within 5 years. It's like everybody's sitting here acting like this is going to happen. The Marcus Garvey Center is going to be right here. The Rosa Parks Center. It's almost like, are y'all serious? You can't possibly be serious on this show. Think that anything's going to happen even within 5 years from now.
Oh, why can't it happen, brother? Tell me that. I'm just asking you from your opinion. I'd like to know from your opinion why you think it can't happen.
Okay, here's why.
Okay.
The idea is perfect. Dr. Umar, the man for the job? Absolutely. It's not a personal attack. Is he the best man for the job? Absolutely, positive. But will this plan right here work? You guys know it won't. How can this work if it took this long to raise that little bit of money? How are these grandiose ideas of this rec center, this over here, this over there? How are any of these things logically going to happen? You look on your timeline
Well, let's do this. Let's be fair to Dr. Umar, because this is his plan. This is his school. I'm just a number one supporter of my brother because I love him and I love the concept and the thought and the idea of what he wants to do as far as helping our children.
I would say to that, and I respect the brother's position. It's sad that we can have more faith in negativity and failure than we can have in success and in optimism. But once upon a time, there were people who thought slavery was impossible to end, and it ended. There were people who told Dr. King that he would never be able to integrate America, and it happened. There were people who told us all types of things that would be impossible, and yet black people are people who have been able to overcome and dominate against every odd put against us. But guess what? Building a school, in my opinion, does not fall amongst the impossibilities. There are schools all across this country, independent schools in every state. So why is it such a far-fetched dream, as you say, brother, for us to give a school for black boys so they can stop being victimized by special ed, so they can stop being emotionally abused by white women, so they can stop being doped up with the Ritalin, the Adderall, the Concerta, the Metadate? Why is it that whenever we decide to do something for us without the white man's participation, all of a sudden it becomes a dreamy, churchical type of a vision? Brother, I don't understand that.
And it's usually by us. I don't mean
and it's always by
but
us.
it's usually by us. And even if it's something that's impossible to any of us, like this man has a dream that's all he talks about. You know what I mean? And just for like, what can we do to make it happen?
Yes.
As a people, what can you do? Even you as a naysayer, what can you do? You got friends. You got.
We should go to somebody else. I don't want to give his brother too much time, y'all.
Come on, brother.
He's negative.
No.
That's where we lose great ideas at, because I'm going to be one of the ones who stands on here and be forthcoming right with this.
No, we respect your opinion.
That's
And he gave his
It
opinion.
doesn't feel like one.
Tell us, brother. Tell us how, in 30 seconds, tell us how you feel, though, financially, that this brother can achieve what it is that he's trying to achieve.
You ask me how can I help him achieve it?
No,
No,
tell
what does he need to
what
do?
does he need to do?
This is what he needs to do. I called into another radio show a few years ago, and I asked Dr. Umar about the same thing about his plan.
Mm-hmm.
He made some key things about he would not purchase the building outright for $2 million if he had. He would let the bank purchase it, and there he would take out a loan for it, and he would not have to do it at full capacity. So when he told me that, it made absolutely no sense. Maybe because I'm looking at this from a logical perspective, a business perspective, that you got to have a trouble grasping.
Okay.
All right. Can we move on?
All right.
Can we
But
please
listen,
move on?
But listen.
Can we please move on?
Listen, what we going to do?
Jahid,
Dr.
move on,
Umar
man.
will
Stop
give you his
feeding this
number,
guy.
and y'all
I ain't giving him
talk
shit.
later.
He a coon. Fuck him. Excuse my French, princess.
Next.
How you gonna sit up there and tell me you ain't donate, but yet we spending $2 billion on Air Jordan every year? Well, hold on. We spending $2 billion on Air Jordan every year. We giving a Chinese corner store how much money? We spending $4 billion on liquor. Black women $16 million on hair, and you can't give $20 to try to save black boys. You a goddamn coon. Next caller.
Next.
I ain't got time for that. Next.
Caller on there. Call.
Good evening and welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Umar.
Caller, you're on.
Yes, hello, Dr. Umar. My name is Abdul from Brooklyn, New York.
Peace.
Brooklyn
Peace and
in the
love.
house.
Yes, I was at your event in the Bronx. Very great event.
Thank you.
Congratulations with everything and all your success. I just have 2 points. I won't take up a lot of your time. I'll be very quick. The first thing I want to talk to you earlier in the show, you were talking about R. Kelly, but obviously there's another major news going on, and that's Mr. Robert Kraft, the Patriots. And I only want to bring this up for certain reasons, because people are saying that, Kraft got caught with Florida Spies and he deserves it. Patriot fans saying, they're after him because it was Super Bowl. But I find it funny or scary that a few days before the Super Bowl, on Super Bowl media week, how a guy, I think from Philadelphia named Pete Bill, asked Robert Kraft to visit him in prison. And after Kraft visited him, Kraft was asking how could this guy in prison when he could just be out there and he could, pay taxes because of how rich he is. And Kraft was even going so far to want to lead a charge of people unnecessarily doing time in prison. So to me, that's
Okay.
You know, he's the one. You know, some fingers for him to at least go down there. You know, when no candidate goes down. So I just want to know your thoughts on this.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Brad.
Thank you. As far as the Robert Kraft situation goes, me personally, I think there's more to this story than what we've been told. There's no way a white man with that power, a billionaire, there's no way that this type of behavior makes it to the major media with the power and clout and connections that white folk of his stature, they don't get in trouble for things like this. Okay? There are sex rings, child sex rings, adult human trafficking rings in Hollywood. The music industry has them. They are everyday parts of the culture of entertainment and sports. It's every day. There's no way that Robert Kraft gets busted for this unless someone within the white power structure wanted him busted. Could it be because he just joined in with Meek Mill and Jay-Z to try to fight against the criminal justice laws in this country? Could this be a way of sitting him down or threatening him to not get involved with the movement by Jay-Z and Meek Mill? Not that I really consider that a very serious grassroots movement, because I don't. But it is something that is progressive, and I applaud both rappers for doing something about it. And Jay-Z has done a lot of progressive things, and I see Meek coming along as well. But yet and still, it could have something to do with that. I think it has something to do with something much greater that we don't even know about. I believe Mr. Kraft may have offended someone inadvertently. Okay, and this is how they're paying him back. It could have also had something to do with the fact that the Patriots won 6 rings and people are just tired of it. It could have been jealousy, because white folks have jealousy too. They just don't let their jealousy get in the way of white power. Black people let their jealousy get in the way of black power. We won't know until it's revealed exactly what brought this on. But you're not going to tell me that this was something that was brought about by regular citizens walking down the street and seeing human trafficking take place, and they just decided to expose it. Because at the end of the day, how does he know the persons working on him in that massage parlor were the victims of a human sex trafficking ring? How would he know that? He would know it if he's a part of it, yes. But if he was not a part of the human sex trafficking ring, how would he know that? And how could he be held accountable for that? And I'm definitely not a Robert Kraft apologist. He's a white supremacist like the rest of them. I'm just simply saying that from what I know with my political IQ, there's more to this. And it's someone behind this with a lot more power than we have. That's number one. As far as Bernie Sanders go, I don't believe Bernie Sanders will be president of the United States for one simple reason. He does not have the charisma, the charm, and the appeal that presidents need. You have to look presidential to be a president. Barack Obama had the oratory. Bill Clinton had the charisma. George W. Bush had the unapologetic attitude. There's something that makes you unique when you become president, and it's normally a combination of oratory, charisma, and style. All due respect to Mr. Sanders, he looks like the guy that blows up the basketball games before the championship match. You know, he looks like the guy that cleans the windows. He looks like the bus driver. There's nothing about Bernie Sanders, in my opinion, that looks presidential. And the reason that has to be important is you have to be able to keep the faith of the people. You see, Barack Obama was able to keep the faith of the people. George W. Bush was able to keep the faith of the people. Charisma is an attractive power that you possess. How do preachers get away with hustling black folks every Sunday? Because they are so charismatic, they can dazzle you with their words and with their speeches. I don't see Bernie Sanders being able to hypnotize Americans long enough in order to be hoodwinked.
He looks like somebody's uncle.
Yes.
Uncle.
Yes.
Even like the suits that he wears.
Yeah, he's not.
It's not that.
He don't have the it factor, and you need the it factor if you're going to be president of the United States.
What factor does Trump have?
Trump is like Bush. They're unapologetic in their opinions.
Okay.
He's
Very unapologetic. And that's their magnetism. Exactly. They say what poor, broke white folks are thinking. Donald Trump is the first president in American history as a billionaire to actually carry the poor white vote. because he catered to their issues and their
He
concerns.
said it years ago. He said it years ago. If I ever ran, that would be my population. I would
That's
track.
right.
And he won them. And he won them.
We're going to go back to the phone lines. Good evening and welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Caller, you there? Okay, you going to do another?
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
We started school for black folks,
Okay.
and we're in a world where everything's integrated, and black people are fighting to become a part of what the white folks have established. And I want to know how the doctor is going to deal with that. White folks trying to integrate into that mold, into that mindset that he's trying to build for the black community.
I'll be honest with you. If a white parent applied for admission for their child in an effort to protect the safety of my students and the integrity of my school, I am not against a handful of white students being at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. In fact, I can almost guarantee you that there will be a white staff member or two as a politically strategic move in order to make sure that my children are not marginalized or in any way receive any of the kickback that was intended for me. You know, I want to make sure we don't get cheated at the football games. I want to make sure the restaurant doesn't close down all of a sudden when we get off the bus to go and eat. And in order to do that, you're going to need a white teacher or two. They're going to need to see a white student or two. So I'm not opposed to a couple of students or a couple of white folk being employed at the school. Strategically, it's a necessity in a predominantly white society.
You still there, caller? You got another question?
Okay, so it's necessary, but you think you won't be able to accomplish that without white allies? You not accomplish those same goals with those as black folks?
Well, I'm in a
And as Malcolm X and his teaching, and he defined segregation from separation, and I thought he was going with separation.
I don't believe in separation. Black people are already separated, so I don't need to advocate that. Okay, we're separated politically, we're separated economically, we're separated socially, we're already separated. The problem is we are separate and powerless. I am for nationalism, which means the independent creation of a power base politically and economically so that black people can thrive upon. It doesn't matter whether you live next door to white folks or not. What matters is whether or not you have your own political power, your own economic power, your own schools, your own supermarkets, your own hospitals, your own integration. With that being said, the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey is in a predominantly black city, in a predominantly black neighborhood, on a block that is exclusively occupied with FDMG campus buildings. So unfortunately, I don't share your same concerns and reservations. I think we'll be fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go back to the phone line. I believe we have someone calling from Los Angeles.
Not Delaware.
Huh?
Delaware.
Delaware in the house. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Officer, this is Melody Alaikum.
Hey, where you sitting, my sister? How are you?
I am so excited. The only thing I want to know is how we can help on Thursday because I want to get some people specifically come to this meet and greet. And I am so excited about it.
Thank you, sister. Yes, thank you, sister. I appreciate the support. What I want to do is I want to give you my cell number, and I want you to text me, and I'm going to text you the information. Are you ready for my cell number?
Okay, you can go ahead and get to it.
215-989-9858. I repeat, 215-989-9858. This Thursday, doors open up at 6 p.m. for a 7 to 9 p.m. Black Delaware family meeting, which is going to consist of a brief overview by me, Dr. Umar Johnson, the founder, CEO, and principal of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. And then I will entertain questions from our brothers and sisters in Delaware. You don't have to live in Wilmington, because we are starting a Black Delaware movement. As I said, Delaware is the new capital of Black America. Where I go, so goes the consciousness. Okay? So I have a meeting with Delaware sisters there, custom, and it is part of African etiquette that whenever you move into a new village, it is your responsibility to introduce yourself so that they can know who you are, understand what you are about, and so that they can determine how they can help the movement. Now,